connection has not been great lately.
Okay, that's all right. Heather's was too. We just have to be patient. Okay, so I was getting ready to brag on you because I know you and you're always so damn humble and you won't do it. I was just getting ready to tell. So like, I mean, can I make you do it? I mean, can I tell you like why I love you and then you can brag on yourself? Will you do that for me?
I'll try.
Okay. So Miranda and I, just like I was saying, Samantha, and you guys kind of heard Melissa feed some, Tanya, all that. So we met because of that. But she's one of my great friends still. She lives in Toledo, and so love her to death. And we're friends more than just 31. Like we both know and share tons of stuff, you know, those deep, dark things and relationships and husbands and kids and all that stuff. So love her to death. And that's why I have to make sure that you guys realize, like, this girl is like the biggest rock star you'll ever probably be able to meet. Like, you guys, you know, we go to conference and I make you find ribbons and all that good stuff, because hers isn't just one area anymore that she's a rock star. So she's had a lifetime achievement of 539,273. So she got one of the honorary achievements. Yes. And when did you start? Right around the same, aren't we close to the same start date? When did you start?
May 2012.
Yeah, so very similar. So there you go, like 200. You guys thought mine was good, 230 more thousands than me. And then, so she's on PAC. You've been on PAC 2 times or 3 times now?
My second time on PAC.
Second time on PAC for that. But she also, this year, how many recruits did you have this year for Leadership Council?
Yeah, I got leadership. Wait, what'd you say? How many years for Leadership Council?
Yeah, how many years for Leadership Council and how many recruits?
So this is my 4th year earning Leadership Council. This year, which has always been a goal of mine, I double earned because I earned PAC with my PD and I had 13, I think, PICAs.
So she made it for PICAs also. So she didn't just earn it for PD. So like I was telling you guys, I wanted that. And like, tell us just an idea, like what was your sales just this last year?
Well, for the fiscal year that was celebrated at conference, yes, I believe it was like just shy of 163,000.
Can you imagine? 163,000, her. Like not her team, her. So one of the things that we all love about Miranda, that we are in awe of and we know we need to do, that she will tell you that one of the reasons she's really successful is her follow-up. Like she is amazing with follow-up. She practices what she preaches and she does it, and she's not, you know, like a lot of us know how to follow up, and it's one of those things that we can all say, but I don't do. Like we don't take the time to do, and she does. Some of the people in the room know Miranda because she actually came to our retreat when we were in Durand, yep, a while ago, too. So you've had that. If you really get to know her, she's me maybe times, not quite 2, but maybe we're very similar. Like we're jumping all in, talk, get excited, you know, super hyper. Yes. So we're 2 peas in a pod like that too. So there you go. There's my lovely Miranda, who I love. You got the floor, girl.
Thanks for the introduction. I will try and talk slowly just in case there comes a point when, like I said, we pay a whopping $85 for internet because it's the only one that offers in the area. Yet lately it's like they keep slowing our speed down and it goes out like once a week, and it's pretty frustrating. But guess that's what we give for living in small town America. So I'll try and talk slowly. Just again, if any of you know me, that's a large feat for me to talk slowly. So I appreciate that warm intro. It is hard for me to talk about myself in those ways, but I think I have also come to a point where I 100% believe God has laid the path for me, and so if I have to talk a little bit about myself so that I have the opportunity to share with others, then I'm willing to do so. And so one of my most passionate things to talk about, more than just follow-up itself, which is, and I'll get to that in a minute, is consistency in general. And so when I first started, like many of you probably, I had a completely different reason for starting than why I'm in 31 now. So when I started 6.5 years ago now, I had just become a stay-at-home mom and needed to get out of the house. And so this was like just I'll just try this 31 thing. I got an email that said if you sold $1,000 in 30 days, they'd give me my kit rebate back. I was like, sure, I can have a challenge and do that. Never did I imagine for it to become what it has. when I did realize I wanted to do something more with it, I was like, well, I should probably become a little more intentional, a little less haphazard. Like, if I got a party, great. Or if I was in the mood to go shopping, I would just book an extra party because then that would pay for my shopping spree. You know, it was never, wasn't intentional for about the first year and a half, which in all honesty is a lot of people's stories. You know, maybe not exactly the same, but when I decided I wanted to do this, I started with a few things. Then when I decided that I wanted to earn leadership council for the first time, was at national conference in 2014. So at the time I'd had all 3 of my kids. They were all very young. So when I made this goal, they would have been like just turned 4, 2.5, and 1. So they were little. I was home with 3 babies basically. And I sold that year. I had sold, without knowing, when they announced like different things, you know, you get your ribbon packet or whatever. I had sold about 47,000 the prior year. I had promoted to director. It was very unintentional. I was just trying to promote, trying to earn LIT, which I did after promoting during the earning period, and that was a huge thing for me. But I was like, okay, so I should probably get intentional. And I had someone who suggested that to me. She said, why don't you like set a goal of what's next? So I decided I was going to earn leadership council. Or I wanted to try anyway. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, I think with the numbers they threw out, if I focus on the number 60,000, that would work. So then I was like, okay, well, you can't just go out and sell $60,000. What's that look like? Well, broke it down into 12 months. That was $5,000 a month, which at the time I was selling about 3 to 4, but that was still daunting. Like adding $1,000 every month to break my goal down was a lot. So I started thinking about it. And if I looked at what my party average was, it was probably about 500. So let me go back to the fact that I talk about consistency. One of the things that doesn't have anything to do with my presentation today that I would really encourage you all to do is look at what you already do. Can you find the trends? Do you generally have the same party volume? Do you generally have the same people attending? Do you generally talk to the same amount of people? Because that alone, building that consistent baseline, you'll find yourself, it's better to at least assess where you're at with your goals, if not achieve your goals, because you know where you're at. So at the time, I had already started paying attention to my party average, because at the time 31 would tell us that all of our meetings, that $600 was the average company party. Well, I'm not going to be below average. So like I was always shooting towards that $600 party. And at the time I would say my average was about 500. So when I looked at my goal, I said to myself, okay, well, if you want to sell $5,000 a month, you have to have 10 parties because your party average is $500. Again, realistically, am I frozen? Can you still hear me?
Yep.
So realistically, we know there's going to be higher and lower parties, but if you hit with the average and you have to start your goal somewhere, I started with 10. That's crazy. Well, I mean, it was crazy. I do about 10 parties a month now, but at the time, it was crazy insane to me.
You froze.
And we're back. Shut down. I have no idea what happened. Okay. So for that very next month, after I set the goal, I booked 10 parties.
You froze again.
Are we good now?
You're back. I think.
Because I can hear you guys, but you're frozen to me, so I didn't want to keep going if we were still frozen.
You're freezing, but we can still hear you too. So you can keep going.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that next month I did book 10 parties, but let me remind you, my kids were 4, 2.5, and 1. I was like, there's no way I can do 10 parties every month. So what else could I do? Well, that's when I buckled down and decided, well, I could shoot for $5,000 parties. So at that point, when I was trying to make the contacts to book my 10 parties and think about how to make my parties higher volume, my 2 focuses at that point became follow-up and hostess coaching. I'm not going to talk to you a lot about hostess coaching today. I'm just going to talk to you about follow-up. What I'm going to tell you is when your follow-up game is strong, your hostess coaching becomes more natural because you have developed relationships with the people that host your parties. So at this point, by the time someone's hosting a party for me, I've already chatted with her several times. she already attended one of my parties, is in my VIP group. So my hostess coaching is more natural because she knows my personality and she knows the success her friend's party had. She wants to do what I've told her. So hostess coaching and follow-up, when people ask me, how do you sell so much? Generally what I say is it has nothing to do with sales, and it has everything to do with my consistent behaviors that lead to sales. So now there are some other, I would in the future have sales tips that, yes, there are things that I think make me sell more the way that I sell, but follow-up and hostess coaching are the core of what I do, and are the two things that I would attribute my continued success. It wasn't 1 year I did really well and then I was done. The other thing that if people ask me, how do I not get burnt out? And there's two things about that is my business happens almost all naturally now because of these habits. And second, I have genuine relationships with these women. I mean, you don't just walk away from your friendships, right? Because you're burnt out. I mean, I guess maybe there are some you do, but your good ones you don't, because you enjoy being a part of it. So that's because of my follow-up. Not only has it built me a strong business, but it's brought me some of the best friends that I could have asked for. So let's talk about the actual follow-up. So during that season of my business, when I was really trying to grow and I wanted to
hang on, I must have my Facebook on, and I don't have my Facebook on. It's just my notifications. Heather just messaged me and was swearing. It's fine. We're just getting a chuckle. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, and then it popped up because you have it broadcast to the TV, so it popped up on there, you mean?
Sorry.
Okay, so at that time during that season, I thought to myself, okay, let me just show you this behind me real quick. I'm not the most organized person. Like, that's what I got. When I sit behind my camera, I'm also getting ready for my Gift-a-Palooza, so I have a lot of extra products, but I'm not naturally organized, but I have a really good memory, so that helps me. But at the time, I was like, I need to have some sort of a system that works for me because I wanted to be able to track my progress with consistency. So what I do is, and of course, I told myself I would get this out before I started talking to you guys. We've had a heck of a morning, and I've barely been home or slept in the last week and a half, so I'm running on E here. Okay, so I use door prize slips at my parties. I've had different ones over the years. Some I've gotten from other people. Like this one, I think, is one that floated around for me. And then this one I made myself because it has similar answers, but I have a monthly bingo night, so I had to have a door prize slip that added that. So good old-fashioned door prize slips. I print them out and cut them into fours, and I always have a stack of them in my party bag. I'm going to talk to you first about home parties because that's my jam. I do Facebook parties as well, and I will transfer the information to Facebook parties after I've gone through my course started at the time that I did this. I only did home parties, okay? But I'll tell you how I do it with Facebook parties too. Okay, so I love these door prize slips. I keep the bunch in my bag so I don't forget them. And I don't give them to them until after my presentation is over because we all know that if it's before your presentation, they either leave them all blank, answer them all no, or just put their name on the top. So I want to wait until they've had so much fun at my parties that we know they want to come back for more and they're more interested. They've seen the products and interacted. I'm not just another direct sales party. So what I do with those then is at the end, I explain to them at the point I've already shared my why. I've already planted booking and recruiting seeds during the party presentation. So I've done that, if we talk about the wow presentation, the second W, the third letter is the wrap up. So at that point I've shared, reminder of the product lines we have, reminder of personalization, reminder of the special, now you all mingle and eat the snacks and I'll help you personally when I can. Before you do that, before you break apart and you start looking through the catalog, I have this door prize slip. There's a few reasons I want you to fill this out. First of all, I told you that my why is building relationships with people. So I want to make sure I have your contact information so that we can follow up and I can make sure that you like your stuff. And just like I told you all, you're going to be my friend. I normally joke about that during the presentation. And secondly, I want to know what you're interested in down here. Don't be afraid. Having a... Oh, okay. I'll have to talk to him a little bit later. Sorry. My husband was calling. My daughter's playing on my phone, so she'll leave me alone. My son's playing video games, so leave me alone. He's playing Minecraft. Okay, anyway. I have ADD. As I was saying, and down here, I explained to them that, like, none of these are scary things. I'd love to have them in my VIP group so we can stay in touch. My bingos nights are fun. And I was like, before you answer no to the party things, like, it's really not scary. It's super simple. You can ask Susie, our hostess, now. I give you lots of tips. It's fun, and you get free and reduced price items. Plus, you get to see me and all your friends again. So I just in a fun way, explain to them, like, what they're filling out. And I'll say you have to fill it out completely, and then you'll go into the door prize drawing. For that, I always give a key fob or free personalization. Now that personalization went up to $8 and the wristlet straps are so popular, I threw in a wristlet strap too. So my thoughts are the key fob they can use or gift away. Plus I use the gives one in my kit, so it reminds me to talk about gives. And then personalization is just a whole other soapbox I could get on, but I love to talk about personalization. If I give it away for free, that person's a return customer forever, because once people personalize their products, like that's game over, because that's what we're known for. Plus that just keeps getting better and better. So they fill this out, I draw, I let them know who the winner is. So then what I do when I get home with that stack of door slips is I write, like if it were Danielle's party and you were all there, I would write Danielle 10-13, I staple it together, and then I put it in my Ruby Mini. Okay, so this Ruby Mini is generally like my most recent parties. Here's what I'm going to admit to you. It is not a perfect, like, black and white system, because I'm a very colorful person. Like, I am not black and white, but I'm going to walk you through what it looks like to use this quote unquote system, remembering that follow-up is one thing, but if you're going to just copy and paste follow-up and not build genuine relationships, I don't know if it's as effective. You know, like I honestly just got a message that you can tell the person uses a automated, maybe something like Project Broadcast, or they have a copy and paste, or an assistant uses it. So she sent out my 60-day reminder, because I've had my products. It's been about 2 months since Hannah's party. It's a jewelry party. I hope you're still loving your products. If not, this is a reminder that the blah 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 is coming up, and basically like also throws in having a party. Well, like I'm already having a party with her, and she just text messaged me the day before. So like, in effect, she just negated the fact that she followed up with me because she sent me that text message. I'm like, what? So, okay, so I can hear them on the phone with my husband still, so I'm all distracted. Okay, so what I want to share with you is this also very much matches my why. I shared my why with them at the party of being like, pouring into women, building relationships. I would never just copy and paste all my messages, because then that doesn't fulfill, like, it's not a genuine relationship. But my first message is a copy and paste. So I take this set of door prize slips. If I have an afternoon party, I do it that night. If I have a night party, I do it the next day. Okay. The rest of my follow-up isn't perfect timing. I like to do my follow-ups on Fridays and Saturdays after that first one, because people are in a good mood. They tend to respond more. They're not busy and like, as busy and crazy as through the week. So my first message, again, an afternoon party or morning or afternoon party, I do it that night. And then a night party, I do it the next day. It is a simple copy paste the first time. I send almost the same thing to everyone, and it would be something like, hey, Heather, thank you so much. Or sorry, I always say my name. Hey, Heather, this is Miranda, the bag lady from Danielle's party. I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming. I know it meant a lot to her. And as I shared at the party, it is my heart to share time with women. So thank you so much for all three of us, for you, her, and me. And that's it. Just a copy and paste. I send the same message to everyone. What I want to do is I want the chance to genuinely thank them, because in all honesty, I don't have a job if they don't come to a party. Secondly, I want to make sure that they know it's not about the sales and the products. Like, I'm thankful for them. So I don't ever mention, hey, it was so fun to have you. Do you want to have your own party? Like, no, not right now. Because I gotta, like, I've actually been training a lot of teams lately. And so I keep adding more things to my like spiel. And one of the things I realized is like, well, at least for me, like, if I went on a first date, like, I'm not expecting any, like, extra, like, you just go on your first date and you go home, and then if he messages you back, like, okay, there might be able to be a second date. for me, like, if he tried to go for some action on the second date, I'm be like, hold up, you know, like, we're going to wait on that. So I'm not going on dates. Obviously, I was talking about my husband when I anyway, so that's my thought. Like, I don't want to push her away and lose the chance at a good, genuine relationship. So that first message, copy and paste, then I write that on the back. Okay, clearly I didn't follow up with this person. Let's see who it was. It's probably one of my regulars. That's why I didn't have the same thing. No, it's a person who didn't fill out their door prize slip. She only put her name. Okay, so the back here, I would just write, like, MSG for message 10-14 if I message you tomorrow, okay? That's it. Just that's my first one because there's no details. I just messaged her. Now, if she messages me back, I might then write something like, if, like, there's some people like me, if you thanked me and I had fun and I was saying, anyway, I'm a worthy person, I'd be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I totally needed that day out. My kids are driving me crazy. Or, like, all I feel like I ever do is laundry. Like, first of all, that is a huge cue for me. Then, like, she's gonna be a team member of mine in the future. But also, then I opened up the relationship a little bit more. It's a two-way street now. Okay, first message comes then. My second message, this is all also. I'm sorry, you guys. I told you I'm a little all over the place for today because I'm not slept well. I ask them. Oh, this one I don't. In my old door prize slip, I asked them the best way to contact them. I still must have both copies because if I want to respect the way they communicate, but if I can get them on Messenger versus text messaging, that's great because then I can do that for my computer, not just my phone. But if they ever tell me email is their preferred method of contact, I do email them one time, but, like, let's be honest, if someone puts email as their preferred method of contact, they're actually trying to tell me not to contact them, but I'm still going to. I'm going to email them the first time and then text message them after I've emailed them once and they don't respond to me. I'll text them and say, hey, I know you had mentioned in the door prize slip that you would prefer for me to email you, but I never know if those make it to the inbox or the junk mail, so I just wanted to make sure you got my second message. Like, they saw my first message and ignored it. So, or they don't check their email. I mean, a lot of people don't. Okay, so I'm sorry. That was just all kind of sidebar. So my second contact is before the party ships. I'm not going to tell you an exact day because it might be that, like, I normally do it 3 days before it looks like from business update, but one, shipping is super fast right now, and two, I might have been busy that day. But my second one is before the products ship so that two things happen. I'm reminding them how excited they are to get their products is the first thing. The second thing is to change my verbiage a little bit. So in the first message, I said, hey, Heather, this is Miranda, the bag lady from Danielle's party. In my second message, I say, hey, Heather, this is your bag lady, Miranda. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that the party should ship in a few days and you knew all about the Benjamins along with your daughter's thermal tote should be on the way to them or on the way to you. I can't wait to hear that it was just as perfect as you had imagined. That's the one message that might take a little bit longer. I have a freakishly good memory. So I would, if you all came to a home party, by the time I would send in those messages, I would remember what you ordered. But if you didn't, instead of the door prize slips this time, you might get out the stack of order forms. Now, I also will say you don't have to do that for every single person, but one, it makes it, like, memorable if, like, for them that you remember that and that you made that connection. But it also, like, helps towards your next step. When you start suggesting more products or you start asking for the booking, you're going to know the things that she already got. So maybe you didn't remember, or maybe there wasn't you don't know her reason for ordering it. Maybe Heather was someone who kind of sat off to the side and I didn't really help her. She came to me, her order was ready. I might just say, hey, your new wallet and that awesome thermal tote are on their way, are going to be on their way in a few days. And maybe you ask then, like, what are you excited to use them for, or something like that. They might be gifts, they might be for her. So it's still a short message. And at the end of this one, I then will say, I'm not sure if you were able to find my Facebook group, so here's a link. I would love to invite you into there because just as I shared at the party, I really love keeping that fun and that inspiration going inside my Facebook group. And then I just send a link to my Facebook group there. This is another point where I can't tell you black and white what it looks like because maybe she ignored my first message. I still send the second message. Maybe we had a great conversation in between the first and the second, and this is a continuation of that conversation. Maybe she already joined my Facebook group. I generally still put it there because if nothing else, she'll tell me she joined it, or she'll tell me she saw a post, or she'll click on it and go look at my group, which still helps Facebook algorithms. So I still share the link to my group and say that, even if she's already in the group. Again, I will get my door prize slips out. I will write that I messaged her on the back. They're still stapled. They're still in the same Ruby Mini. This is about the one thing that I keep pretty consistent for myself as far as organization goes, because I always find something cuter that I think is going to be better and change it. But I always have, this has my business name on it there. That's my follow-up Ruby Mini. Then, if I get past that 3 months or I get a cold lead, I just move them into this one, into a bigger zipper pouch. That one just says, I love my 31 friends, with that gorgeous metallic thread we had 2 years ago. So I have those right there on my desk. And they're easy to pop into a bag if I'm going to be on the go or go to gymnastics or something like that. I can take those with me. So that's the second follow-up. The third follow-up, I make sure the hostess has delivered the products, because I got burnt one time and followed up and the hostess hadn't delivered the products. And at that point, again, even if they've ignored my first 2 messages, I have a different message. So I'm still going to say, maybe Heather is busy, or maybe Heather is a jerk and she didn't message me back. I don't know. One of the two could be true, or anywhere in between. How many times do I look at a message and think, oh, I'll message them later, and then, I get distracted and I don't. So don't assume because people don't message you back, whether it's specific party follow-up or it's any kind of follow-up. Don't assume because someone doesn't message you back that means they're disinterested, okay? So third message, hey Heather, it's your bag lady Miranda checking in again. I always love once I know the products have been dropped off or you've gotten them, that you've got them out of that plastic and made sure they were just perfect and meet your expectations. So what do you love most about them? This last one, I intentionally leave it an open-ended question so that it's not, did you get your products? Yes. Like, what do you love most about them? If she can tell you she didn't love them, she can tell you exactly what it is. Or sometimes it's that you've built that relationship. We're on the 3rd date now, right? So I've called her back, or not called her, because I tried calling for a while and no one answered and they texted me back. So I just went back to texting. But like she can see I'm invested now. I wasn't a one-night stand, right? She didn't come to the party and I never talked to her again. So she, sometimes at that point they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. And there's so much more on my wish list. And they book their own party because I've invested in the relationship with them. So at that point, that third follow-up, this is where I can't tell you exactly where my 4th one comes. I can tell you I have several more, whether or not they message me back. What generally I will do is, again, if that point, before I do that third follow-up, are they in my Facebook group? If not, that's my invitation to them. If they join my Facebook right away, they've messaged me back on every message, they're either a future team member or a future hostess, because if they're that involved, then I can start planting those seeds. Remember, that doesn't mean it's going to be now next month, but maybe I say, I'm so excited that you love your products. Do you still have a wish list? Is that something you would love to do the same thing that Danielle did and have some girls over for a girls' night, and I'll bring the new spring line or whatever, because we have new stuff every 2 to 3 months. There's going to be a new reason to show her friends what's coming up. And so I can start that conversation like that. If she's not interested in a party or anything like that, what I will say is, just as I mentioned before, I love following up with my customers just to make sure you know what's going on, or you have any questions to make sure everything's working great for you. Is it okay if I check in with you when our new catalog comes out so that you know what's like the best thing going? So at that point, I set myself up. I've asked her permission to continue this relationship. I've never had anyone tell me to not follow up with them. That being said, if someone has a consultant, like if you were at my party and we were talking, I always ask them, do you have a consultant that you generally work with? And then if they say yes, I will still do my first follow-ups. Mostly, thank you for coming, and then checking if she got her stuff. Like I might lower those because I'm not going to take someone else's customer from them. That's not cool. Yeah. You can try, but she's with her friends, so I don't know if she'll talk to you. she's like just learning how to like recognize letters and read, and she like loves my little sister, so I let her play on my phone, which I never do, and she's like, oh, is that Aunt Hillary? Can I call her? We'll see if she answers or not. Okay, I'm gonna pause real quick. Well, first of all, are there any questions before I continue on to the next thing? If anyone has any questions, needs any help with it, repeat anything, the timing, any other verbiage, clues, let me know if you have any questions right now.
Any questions, girls? Nope. Everybody's good. Okay.
So with the frazzledness of my day and my kids and everything, I forgot to like open up with what I like to open up with. And okay, I had notes I trained Heather's team like a week and a half ago, and I don't know where I put the notes, but one of the quotes that I love to share when I talk about follow-up is, I can't even think of who quoted it, maybe Henry Ford, but it says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So the same, while I'm not necessarily trying to share my knowledge with my customers, I don't think I could give them I could be showing the best deal in the world. I could be, if you know me, I'm 100% all in with passion first and foremost. Like, I care about your heart more than I care about if you're going to buy anything from me. But if all I ever do is follow up about sales or follow up about the bookings, or like I said, I let it be a one night stand and I never follow up with them, they don't know how much I care. They don't, but they also don't care how much I know, because I haven't shown them that I care. So that's one quote that has always stuck out to me as far as like how I want to build my reputation in my business. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you. Another thing that I wanted to share before I got started was, whenever I introduce this topic, I'll always say that when I talk to peers in the industry, maybe they have nothing to do with 31, but it's a fellow DS girl, and she's asking me about my success with my business. I might talk to her. I might talk to my peers, like my friends like Danielle, when we're brainstorming or talking. I might talk to my downline, but the incredible thing is, when I go to like Leadership Council PAC, or like where I'm around you're talking upper level, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Upper level leaders. It's hard to say that fast. They'll ask me, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm just me. But what I do differently than all of those people I message is I follow up with my customers. So I'm not kidding. There are people who I have always admired in our business, in 31, who will ask me for advice. And when I say to them, well, I mean, to be honest, what makes me most successful is my follow-up, the very first thing they tell me is, I don't have time to follow up. Anyone, no matter what level they are, that is almost everyone's answer. And I meant to say that at the beginning because I wanted to see how many of you agree. Because normally when I train a team, I say at the beginning, like, everyone nods their head. That's what everyone says. I don't have time to follow up. So my question to that would be, do you have time to come to the end of every month realizing you're not hitting your goals, and coming to the beginning of every month looking at a blank or sparse calendar? Because that is what I wanted to change when I started working on follow-up. I didn't want to scramble every month and be stressed out about whether or not I had enough parties to hit this incentive or make the income when it moved into an income need for my family. Like, am I going to make enough income? Am I going to have enough parties? Am I going to achieve that goal I set? I didn't want that to be a question. I wanted things booked that month to either be fillers or, I'm sorry, my October's booked. Can we look at November dates? I wanted to be a hot commodity. I wanted it to be that I felt confident that my business was filled for myself, my family, but also as I grew a team. If my calendar is set, I can give my team more of my focus because I don't have to stress out about whether or not it's booked. I am booked for the first week of December right now. I cannot book another party. There has probably only been, since I started this, 2 times when my calendar took a big dip. One was my first hardcore holiday season. My babies were little and I was tired. So I worked hardcore through the holiday season, and I was tired. Got through January, like, it was an okay month. And February, to launch the catalog, I literally had nothing on my books. So this is where a time when follow-up not tied to a party came in. I just pulled all of my reports from all my back office contacts. I used my phone contacts. I use my messenger list. I use the people in my Facebook group, and I did not stop until I hit 10 parties again. But in the meantime, I reconnected with people. They didn't all book a party, but I invited them back into my Facebook group. I let them know a new catalog was launching. I sent out a survey to get new catalogs. And I will tell you, other than 1 month because of life, since that moment, that February 3 years ago, I've never not had as many parties as I wanted to. What? Grandpa's in Mexico. He can't answer right now. When you FaceTime, you can try FaceTime him. He's my dad.
I know, but he says dad, and I don't
And you
know
don't find any like that?
because also that's not all dad is.
Right there. That's my dad. Since it says dad, that's my dad. You can try and FaceTime him, but he might not answer. He might be at the beach. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so the only other time was my husband and I were separated last year, and I had a very tough month when it first hit me. Now, I'll tell you, I still sold my regular. It just wasn't at parties. I just had to do other things to sell what I sold. But other than that, I can tell you, I always have as many parties as I want, maybe more. I can't have 25 parties a month, right? So after I hit my parties, and I'm not going to get into this, but I always get excited to talk about everything. I have Hostess of the Month clubs. I have bingo nights. I have mystery hostess parties. So don't feel like if you want to ever hit your goal, it all has to be parties. You can find other segments of your business to build into your follow-up, into maintaining relationships, into earning both PV and income. But for me, the home party will always be the core of what I do, okay? Now, my dad's like shouting at her on the phone. He answered, I guess. Must not be at the beach. So now let me talk to you about transferring home party to Facebook party. It really is not that much different. I use a Google form door price slip. It honestly has a little bit more information than those because I can add pictures in or I can add links in. I ask about my Hostess of the Month club in my online door price slip. I don't put that in my paper one because that's a lot to offer at a home party, I feel like. But so I have found in my Facebook parties, I actually post it multiple times. I post it the second day of my Facebook parties, like during my pre-post, where I just say, this is going to be a chance for you to get entered. Then I post it once, like during my party, and then I post it in my follow-up so that they make sure they fill it out by the end. I have also started in my hostess coaching having if there are people who didn't engage in the Facebook party, in my hostess coaching, I will have my hostess send her that link along with her shopping link. So let's say you just had a really busy week and, Danielle was your Facebook hostess. She might say something like, hey girl, I know it's been crazy for your family this season, but I wanted to make sure you did not miss out on the medium utility totes for October. Miranda and I are going to close my party next week or this weekend. So I wanted to make sure I sent you the shopping link and reminded you that you could get 2 for $20 and they'll be gone October 31st. And then also she's giving away a door prize and said anyone could enter that filled it out, even if you didn't attend the online party. So I'm finding more people are filling it out that way when the friend sends it because, again, I mean, they pay attention more when their friend says something to them. So then my follow-up, obviously there's a little bit of a different thing. Okay, so if you're in a Facebook party, people might message me during the Facebook party. So I've already naturally got their conversation started. And there's not a hard end like there is with a home party. But what I will do is once we've placed the order, that's when my first follow-up comes for an online party. Because at that point, we have a finishing moment. So I will thank them, obviously, in the Facebook group, but that is not enough. I still send those personal messages to tell them thank you for coming to the party. Like, it's a super fun thing to connect with people, even if we're in our jammies. And I truly love what I do, so I appreciate it. Same way, just a simple thank you. One of the other things I've learned for that follow-up is if they fill out the door price slip, I will text message them. Since we know Facebook's kind of funny where they might or might not see my message. But then I always ask them, do you prefer text message or is a Facebook message okay? But they're going to answer the text message more readily because we never know what Facebook is going to show us. Then after that, my follow-up is the same for home parties or Facebook parties. So the one thing I want to make sure I reiterate out of this is my main goal with my follow-up is to make them feel my gratitude, to build a relationship, and to get them into my customer group. Again, that's a whole nother day. If you don't have a strong and hopping customer group, that is definitely something you could work on. But to me, because I believe they can continue to get to know me. We can warm up if they're not ready to book a party. But that's a really comfortable place to invite them to. If I feel someone's throwing me the vibes, or I really want someone to be a team member or a hostess, by all means, I book their party or I offer them the opportunity. But no matter what, no matter how warm or cold of a lead I feel like they are, I always try and get them into my Facebook group. Partly because, again, they can see my business all the time then. But another thing is, aside from party follow-up, I preach to my team follow-up Friday. So people generally get paid on Fridays. They're happy because the work week's over. They're in a better mood. There are statistics that say people are more likely to say yes on a Friday. So on Fridays, I tell my team, find a reason to follow up with people. So maybe you're all sitting there like, great, Miranda, this would be so great if I had a party, or, you know, I don't have a party next week or the next week. How am I going to practice this? Well, you can start anywhere. So with your Facebook group, what I will do sometimes when it's my follow-up Friday and all my parties are followed up with, and I've checked in with my potential team members, I just open up the members page of my Facebook group and I scroll through, and I might be like, oh, she's been commenting on a lot of stuff, or oh, I never booked her party from like so-and-so's like 6 months ago. But I just scroll through that list of members, and then I do some kind of a follow-up. It might just be that hey, Danielle, you know, I just was thinking about things, and I've noticed you've been really just hanging out in my group a lot, and I just want you to know how much that means to me. That's like exactly what my hopes are for the group, is a place for women to hang out. So it's just a warm message. Again, you can do that. You can message 10 people in like 5 minutes. So I always encourage my team members to follow up like with 5 to 10 people every Friday. It kind of helps you get almost to that 3 contacts a day that we always talk about. It's just not realistic for everyone to follow up every day. I know a lot of you work full time. I would encourage you to look at what you do with your time, because if you play on Facebook a lot, or you're playing games or apps or watching lots of TV, I mean, I think you can give up 10 or 15 minutes to follow up with a few people every day. But if nothing else, Fridays and Saturdays are great. I totally respect if you're I take the weekends off or Saturdays not for that. I will tell you, you get a lot of higher response rates on a Saturday, I think, because, again, especially Saturday morning, everyone's sitting on their couch, like, getting ready for the day kind of thing. So Friday, anytime during Friday. I find that Friday evenings, if people aren't at a basketball or a football game, they're just at home, because Friday nights are like, they're winding down from the week. So even Friday at 9 o'clock is a really good time to follow up. So follow up with something on Friday, and realize that your follow-up doesn't always have to come from a party. You're working on building a relationship, you're working on planting seeds, and you're working on making sure she knows that you care, because then she'll care about how much you know. Another thing that I know Danielle has shared is those astounding follow-up statistics. It's on a graphic. Like I share it to my team like probably like at least once, if not twice a month. Just a minute. That's Dad. But that's your dad. No, your dad. My husband. Sure.
So cute.
Well, she told me it's not fair because Ethan's playing Xbox and Mia's on her tablet. For some reason, she can't find her own tablet, so she wanted my phone, only now she's just calling people. Like, how many times, like, what? Because he tried to call to talk to me, but, okay, so there's statistics. And it is like 2% of business happens on the first contact. But only 10% of people follow up beyond the first contact. That is a huge miss in business, because 98% of business is going to happen after the follow-up, but 90% of people aren't following up. Like, that's crazy. That's so much missed business. This statistic was probably from more like the type of sales my husband does, like the bigger type of sales where the statistic came from, but it said that most sales happen between the 5th and 8th contact. So for us, that might not be accurate, but what we can gain from that statistic is 5 to 8 contacts is not, it's not too many times to follow up with people. I think we all think, oh, I'm bugging them or I don't want to follow up with them. But first of all, if you go back to, I'm passionate about what I do. If I can make them know my heart and know I'm following up for all those other reasons, then I don't think people are going to be tired of it. The other thing is we live in the most distracted, busy, like, society ever. So here's what I will do. So I was always following up to that 4th contact. I always did the 3 for my parties and then the 4th when the next new thing came out until I saw that statistic. So then I was like, I'm not going to stop. I don't care if they've ignored me, all 4 contacts. During that push during February, 3 years ago is when I started this line. And if you're not sarcastic like me, this won't work. But you could figure out something that matches the same way. When I was going those lists, if I realized that person still hadn't messaged me back from the last time I followed up with them, I said, hey, this is Miranda, you're the bag lady from, and I would remind them wherever I met them or if they knew me, like obviously they know me. It is really important to me to stay in touch with my customers so they know how thankful I am for being a part of what I do. Now, that being said, if you want to tell me to buzz off, it is totally fine. I just wanted to make sure you knew a new catalog was coming out, and I would love to share it with you. Well, the minute I put that in, everyone was like, oh, I would never say that to you. I'm so sorry. And they would give me whatever excuse it was that they ignored my last message. So now that's the method I use. Like, if someone has ignored me 4 times and I want to get to that 5th to 8th contact, I use that. Like, but again, I'm sarcastic and people know that about me. But you could find something like that, some key feeling to make them at least message you back, even if it isn't. I'll tell you, no one has ever told me to buzz off. Most times it elicits action from them. They join my Facebook group, but they never have, or they ask me to send them a catalog, or they're so apologetic, or whatever it might be. So I wanted to make sure that I'm always getting to that 5th to 8th contact with them, because I'm not going to miss out on an opportunity. So I think I have covered most of what I would have in my notes outline, because I shared with you what my system looks like. I shared with you what I say for those things. I tried to show how Facebook parties and home parties that can happen for both of them, but then remind you that we're following up beyond just having been at a party. We want to make sure that we're consistently following up because there's always new things. So my Fridays are, I could get this back out and go through who didn't respond to me, who did I never get that party booked with, etc. After about 3 months, I move them from this one to this one. So if it's follow-up Friday and you're on a drought and you haven't had like a good home party or really even a good Facebook party, go back to this list. Go back to these, and like all I do when I'm bored, I do that. I still have a huge stack in here, and I'll weed about, oh, they joined my team. I throw their whole party out because I'm not gonna follow up with them anymore, or oh, I never booked with them, or oh, this or that. So I will go back through these ones, and then after about a year, I weed out anything out of here that's not relevant anymore. We always want to be following up with someone, be it checking in on people who have bought products, letting them know that, if they bought, well, like let's say they like a large utility tote, this is the month I would want to follow up with them about the medium. Last month, if they had bought a new purse recently or a new wallet recently, I could follow up on the other one. So always looking for the reasons to follow up with people outside of a party. So that I use Fridays as follow-up Friday. Some of the side things that I would encourage out of what I shared with you as recaps is you need to set a goal, because if you're just spinning your wheels and you don't know why, you're not likely going to find consistency. You're not gonna honestly ever probably find contentment in what you do. If you don't have that purpose, that bullseye you're striving for, you're not going to feel fulfilled, and you're likely going to compare yourself to other people. I don't ever compare myself to anyone else. I know why. I have my why. It's why I do what I do. I want to inspire and encourage women right where they're at. That stands true for myself. That stands true for the team I am leading. That stands true for the women that are part of my business and my daughters who watch me. So that is why I do what I do. Everyone else's why is different. Also, I have goals. I have financial goals for my family. I have achievement goals for myself. And that means that when I look at those goals determine my actions. I'm not going to do what other people are doing sometimes because they don't have the same goals as me. But if I weren't to set those goals, you better believe it's a lot more difficult to do that. It's a lot easier to look at, oh, well, she's doing this or she's doing that. But if I ask myself, well, does she have the same actions as me? Does she have the same goals as me? Probably not. So I really encourage you to decide what you want out of the rest of October. What do you want out of the holiday selling season? What do you want out of the launch of the spring catalog or the next year in your business? You have to decide that. Don't feel like it's too big or too small. Whatever you want, go for that. Write it down and set a goal. And then that's what brings a circle to how I got where I was. I did that. I wrote it down. I set a goal. And I realized a goal can't accomplish itself. I've got to have those measurable things that I'm doing that are going to get me there. I had a certain amount of dollar I wanted to sell. I had a certain amount of parties I wanted to have. That breaks down into a certain number of people I need to contact. And so then that broke down into habits like the follow-up and the hostess coaching and the consistency in my Facebook group that would then push me into those actions that then push me to achieving those goals. Now I will tell you, the year I set a goal to sell 60,000, I actually sold 73,000. So I went from 47,000 at conference in 2014 to 73,000 at conference in 2015. That earned me leadership council. I believe I was number 12 that year. And I told myself I cannot do more. At the time, my kids were now 5, 3, and 2. And I couldn't add to my business. But what happened to me is because I had such consistency, my business still grew. It might have been then that I added more people at my bingo parties. I added more hostess of the month clubs. I hostess coached to a higher dollar level. But I did not let myself put more parties on my calendar because that didn't fit my family why. And then that next year I sold 82,000. So trying to do the same thing, I still grew by almost 10,000 volume. I was number 8 that year. Same thing. The next year I wasn't going to do more. But we were in a very tough spot for our family. So I tried even harder to add segmented parts of my business. I started doing a mystery hostess party in my Facebook group every month. I would do like a small flash sale at the end of a month. I don't have a home party. It is rare I have a home party that is less than $1,200. My Facebook parties are, as long as my hostess plays the game, my Facebook parties are generally $600 to $800 now. And I make sure that I am consistently following up with people. I then, last year, I sold 149,000 at conference, and I was number 3. I was trying really hard to make money last year. We are not in a great place financially, so that was my goal last year. And then I left conference last year, which led that next week is when my husband ended up. Yes. Okay, I need you watch. The games are all in right there. Okay, let me play Subway Surfer for a little bit. I came home to like just a life-changing week. So my husband moved out for almost a year. I prayed a lot over my business, and the same thing. I needed the financial portion, but I was basically a single mom for almost 9 months. But because I had consistent habits, my business did not fall apart. And then, as I just shared, I sold 163,000 almost when we went to conference this July. I can be very honest with you. The most overwhelming part is just some of my lack of time management. I do stay home with my kids, but they're all in school now. But so I have parts of my personality like this is my organizational system. But I can tell you that I don't ever get burnt out by my business because I'm 100% passionate about what I do. I love my customers and my parties, and that's just what it is. That's where I'm at. So I thought I would just finish that story. Those things are hard for me to say. I don't say those things to brag about myself. I say those to show you that after having done this for so long, I want to say that I genuinely don't feel burnt out. And secondly, those consistent habits have gotten me through really tough seasons of my life. I was a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids for 3 of the years that I built this business. This is the third one that you haven't seen yet, right here.
This is not a bruise. I was.
Laying on your cheek. Okay, let me finish this. I'm almost done. Okay.
I just want to tell you, I'm on the top group on gymnastics.
She is in the top group of gymnasts at her. Oh, I'm gonna finish this up. You go on, okay?
Okay, I'll go get my gymnast suit on.
No, you don't need to put your gymnast suit on. They believe you that you're a good gymnast.
No,
Right.
She's my humble one. So anyway, that's what I have for you. I would love to answer questions.
This is my gymnast.
Her birthday was yesterday, so she got a new gymnastics uniform.
You got a new outfit.
And her scrunchie and a headband to match.
Oh my gosh.
With a window right here that all of our neighbors could see.
She is my girl.
All right. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer?
Questions? Yeah, we got one. Hang on. Talk loud.
Yeah. So I kind of lost what your 5th follow-up is, like where that fits in. Like
I can't because I can't tell you. Not that I can't. I'm not holding it a secret. That depends because okay, so let me run through a few scenarios. Okay, you're at Danielle's party and I respond to you, or I send my thank you message and you're like, oh my goodness, I've never gotten a message from it. Like there's literally people who tell me I never hear from the people that go to parties. That's awesome. I had so much fun. Then I start a conversation with you such that by the second follow-up, it's just a continuation. Hey, haven't chatted with you in a few days. I wanted to let you know that blah, blah, blah is coming from the party. I hope you're super excited to get it. Again, you respond to me. I might have already booked a party with you, right? Because we're already developing that relationship. So there's that one. There's the ones that maybe they just send the one-word response each of the 3 times. So after the 3rd time, I ask, is it okay if I continue to follow up with you? You say yes. Then right now we are about to hit a season where we're going to get new stuff every 3 months. So there's always going to be that next thing. So my 4th follow-up, if they don't really engage, but they do respond, is going to be like, hey, I had asked you after Danielle's party if it was okay to let you know when new stuff came out. We'll get this. Here's this new winter seasonal guide. You should totally check it out. Send the message, send the link to look at that. That's number 4. Number 5 might be within that season, following up with what she did or didn't say to that message. It might be finally like maybe she just has never booked a party and you really thought she would. Find a reason. So at that point, then something else sparks that. I just wanted to let you know, don't give up before 5, but I can't tell you exactly how everyone's going to respond leading up to those 5. So it's just something new. Again, if they've never responded or joined your VIP group, maybe it's something simple like, hey, I'm getting ready to do something fun in my VIP group. Go out, make sure you've joined. Just some kind of a message. Now, if they have completely ignored you every time, that 5th message might be that, hey, I just wanted to let you know that it is super important to me to stay in touch with the customers that have been a part of my business. I wasn't sure if you would enjoy continuing to hear from me or something like that. That sounded negative. Don't say it like that. I wanted to make sure that you love hearing from me. Always give the positive vibe. So the 5th one might be that, where you legitimately ask them if it's okay to continue following up with them. One more that I would give you a suggestion that I started doing from a friend of mine suggesting it is on top of my door prize slip, I do a monthly giveaway in my group. So each catalog season, they just have to fill it out one time and then they're in the drawing every month. So that could be another way to get them to join your VIP group. And it could be, if you're just looking for another follow-up, it could be, hey, I wanted to make sure that you had filled up my monthly giveaway form. I wasn't sure if I'd ever given that to you or something like that. So it's hard when I get past the third one in what is quote unquote my system. That's what I was saying before. It's hard to give you a black and white answer to what you say or when you do it, because I'm very colorful. And so mine are very personal. Going back to time, I would still say that follow-up only is a small portion of my time because I just pull these slips out, or like with the Google form one, I just pull up the spreadsheet and follow through and send out the messages. You know, I maybe spend each time I do it 15 or 20 minutes on follow-up. But that being said, because some of it is organic, I'm honestly also sometimes continuously following up with people because I have genuine conversations that spike back and forth. So I'm sorry if that didn't specifically answer your question, but that is what I would tell you for that fifth contact, is it's really going to be dependent on your previous conversations with her.
No, she did, and that was on my notes, was to kind of brainstorm some of those excuses to follow up with them. So yeah, no, like you said, holiday guides and new products and surveys and different things if they haven't done them. So yeah.
Like I usually get to like step 1 or 2, and then I stop. So it's like getting like
Yeah. Yep. Any other questions?
What does your typical month look like between parties, bingo, etc.?
What was what? Sorry, cut out.
What does your typical month look like between parties, bingo, etc.?
So, okay, so the way that I do it is my party days are generally Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. I party every Thursday. It's, in my opinion, the best day to party. And then when Saturdays and Sundays come, I will only do two full weekends, or like one and then one. So I'm not going to party every Saturday and Sunday. My family matters too. So I have 3 times I party, not on those days, and that's for my monthly bingos. So like I have found groups of people that wanted to do what I did in my regular monthly bingo, so I go to different locations. Those are the only times I try and party off my party days. Now in my off party days, I will do online parties, so that fills that. So I have 3 monthly bingos. I generally do about 8 to 10 home parties and about 4 or 5 Facebook parties. Plus I have 6 Hostess of the Month clubs. I try to give myself 1 week off, as far as, I don't take time off of work, but I try to maybe only have 1 party that week so that I can finish my deliveries and do hostess coaching for the next month, or wherever it falls in the month. A lot of times it falls like the last part of the last week of the month through the first week of the month. I don't do a lot of parties then. I don't feel ready to start a Facebook party yet then. A lot of people don't. I want to make sure I launch my month with my team. So for me, I generally between the 26th and the 6th of the next month, I don't party a lot so that I have time to wrap up and move forward. Now, I will say I do this full time. I have a different why than other people have. I have exponentially grown into this, but now I'm in a position that I'm going to be able to impact the not great financial state we're in, because I make a really great income off of myself, but my team is also growing. So I'm making an income that will impact our future. So that's why I do what I do. That being said, that's not a realistic goal for a lot of people. So what I'd encourage you to do is take both sides. Do you have a PV goal that you want to achieve, like a 4K kit or group or something like that? Or do you want to have a certain amount of income because of either debt or like bills or family stuff, Christmas coming up? Decide that first and then filter in what you want that to look like. Figure out how many parties it's going to take. Figure out what you want your party average to be. How many people need to be there? Do you want to add a Hostess of the Month club? Don't do things just because I said that's what I do or that's a good idea. Find the things that help you meet your goals and build into them realistically. But that's what my month looks like. It's kind of crazy.
Anybody else? Awesome.
stuff.
Yes, good
Good
stuff they
stuff.
just said. Yes. Whoop, whoop.
Well, thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Well, if anyone has any follow-up questions, haha, get it? I'll be happy. I'm in your team page, so you can just tag me and ask.
Just so you know, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Love you, girl. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.